قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. Yusuf alayhi salam, he goes to his father and he tells him about this dream that he just saw. Now I want you to imagine this. Yusuf alayhi salam at this time, how old is he? He's definitely under the age of 10. He's around perhaps 6 years old, or 7, or 8, or he's under 10. And he sees this strange dream where he sees the stars and the sun and the moon all prospering to him. But what I find interesting is that Yusuf alayhi salam, after he sees his dream, as a young child, the first person he goes to tell this dream is his father, Yaqub. That tells us something very important. It tells us that the relationship that Yaqub alayhi salam had with Yusuf was a very close relationship, a loving relationship, companionship. That he made his son feel so comfortable that he was the person he went to tell everything. His secrets, his dreams, everything that occurred in his life, he was so comfortable to tell his father. And as parents, that's how we're meant to be. We're meant to be those who make their children feel comfortable that they're able to tell us anything. Because if we're not like that, our children are going to start living double lives. They're going to live one life with us, and outside they'll be different people. But Yaqub alayhi salam made sure that wasn't the case with Yusuf, that he came to him directly and he told him everything. And then when he tells him this dream, Yaqub alayhi salam straight away knows that this dream, it is literally the way it is. From a parent, Yusuf alayhi salam is going to be extremely successful, and this is going to occur the way it is. He understood what the dream meant. He understood that also that his son is not going to be harmed, he's going to live to see that to become reality. Now, moving forward, he gives him advice. He says to him, Ya bunay, oh my dear son. How did Yusuf alayhi salam address his father? Ya abati, oh my dear father. And he addresses his son, Ya bunay, oh my dear son, my beloved son. They had that loving relationship. Yusuf alayhi salam is showing his father the utmost respect and love and compassion, and his father is also showing the same thing. Meaning that the relationship, when it becomes with parents, it should be one-sided. Both sides. The parents should show that compassion and love to their children, and the children should be dutiful and kind and obedient to their parents, of course. Both sides. And of course the right of the parents is greater. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, رِضَى اللَّهِ فِي رِضَى الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَسَخَطُ اللَّهِ فِي سَخَطِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. The pleasure of Allah Ta'ala, it's in the pleasure of the parents. And the anger of Allah Azza wa Jalla, it's in the anger of the parents. Meaning that if your parents are displeased with you, it's a sign that Allah Azza wa Jalla is displeased with you. Extremely dangerous. He advised his son, he says to him, Ya bunay, oh my dear son, la taqsus ru'yaka, do not tell your dream, don't relay your dream to your brothers. Because they may plot against you. Verily shaitan is a clear enemy to mankind. He gives him advice, but he doesn't only give him advice. He's not the parent who says, don't do this to his son, but he gives him a reason so he understands why he shouldn't do this. When you treat your children like they're adults, you give them reasons, you help them understand, and you speak to them like they're adults, they behave that way. So he tells him, don't tell your dream to your brothers, because they may plot against you. And he doesn't blame his brothers. He says shaitan is a clear enemy. It's not them, it's shaitan who's going to make them do this. Why were the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam like that to him? Because let's give you some context. Yaqub alayhi salam, he had a number of wives. And Yusuf alayhi salam and his brother Binyamin, they were from one of his wives. That wife was extremely beloved to Yaqub. She passed away. When she passed away, Yusuf and his brother Binyamin, they had no mother. Because they had no mother, and the other wives of Yaqub alayhi salam can't fill that void of the mother. Yaqub alayhi salam took it upon himself to try to give them that extra attention, that love, because they don't have a mother. So the other wives of Yaqub, you know what happened? They got jealous. They saw how Yaqub was treating Yusuf and his brother, and then they said that he's treated them like this because he loves their mother more than us. She's a dead woman, they're jealous of her. So what do? They instilled that jealousy and that envy in their sons. And their sons grew up resenting their own brothers. So Yaqub alayhi salam knows this, so he's trying to protect his son from this. But he teaches us something else as well, which is that not every blessing that you've been granted by Allah Azza wa Jal is a blessing that you need to expose. You shouldn't expose the blessings that Allah Ta'ala has granted you except if it's necessary. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he told us, فَإِنَّ كُلِّ ذِي نِعْمَةٍ مَحْسُودٍ. Everyone who possesses a blessing is envied. So you're meant to conceal your blessings and protect them and not flaunt them, especially in the time that we're living in, the age of social media, where everyone wants to show their whole life to everyone, everything, what you ate, where you went, and where you traveled to, who you met. Everything is documented. The only thing left is for them to document when they go to the toilet. Right? That's the age that we're living in. We shouldn't be those who behave like that. We don't just follow every trend. What dictates to us how we should live our lives is the Quran. The Quran is telling you, don't expose all your blessings. Protect yourself. You know, nowadays the Muslims, all they talk about is ayn. Everything happened to us because of ayn. It happened because of ayn. This happened because of ayn. Not every disaster that happens to you due to ayn. And if it happens due to ayn, you know why? It's because you haven't taken the necessary precautions. You know the greatest thing, by the way, the greatest thing that protects you from ayn and all evil is the remembrance of Allah Ta'ala. Meaning that if you're afflicted, of course it's the qadr of Allah Ta'ala, but you should ask yourself, how am I when it comes to my adhkar, my awrad? Am I one who observes the morning and evening reverence on a daily basis, religiously, after Salat al-Fajr, after Salat al-Asr? Because that's your protection for the day. If you don't read it, if you don't recite them, then you're leaving yourself vulnerable, right? Imagine Uthman radiallahu anhu, his son. Uthman, he narrates a hadith from the Prophet alayhi salatu. His son narrated it from him to the tabi'in. This hadith, it is that whoever says every morning and every evening, بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم, 3 times, nothing will harm him that day. Whoever says that 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. Short dhikr, but he has that much protection. So what happened? Uthman radiallahu anhu's son, who narrated this hadith to these tabi'in, one day they saw him and half of his body had become paralyzed. So they're looking at him funny. Isn't he the guy who told us that you said that nothing happened to you? What's the matter with you? And he realized, he said that I didn't lie about what the Prophet ﷺ said, but I forgot to say the dhikr today and this happened. You see? And just one day he forgot to say dhikr and that happened. So imagine what we're exposing ourselves to and what we're leaving ourselves vulnerable to when we don't remember Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what Ibn Qayyim alayhi rahmatullah, he says that, you know, dhikr of Allah Ta'ala, it's like a wall, right? When you remember Allah Azza wa Jal, that wall, it's there to protect you. It creates a fortress for you. But if you remember Allah a little, then that the wall will be very thin. It's easy for one to come through and break through it. But when you remember Allah Azza wa Jal a lot, it becomes thicker and stronger, and it's very difficult for one to break through. That's why Allah Ta'ala commands us to remember Him a lot. That's the precautions that we should take, and we shouldn't be those who just everything we become paranoid about ayn and la. Remember Allah, rely upon Allah, and take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and not expose all your blessings, and live your life. So he gives his advice to Yusuf alayhi salam. And then he tells him what this dream is going to be, that Allah is going to choose him, and that Allah is going to bless him, and that he's going to be one who's going to have a very bright future. But Yusuf alayhi salam never tells his dream to his brothers. His brothers, they have this jealousy towards him, this envy towards Yusuf alayhi salam. So they are already plotting, they all come together, they're plotting to do something about Yusuf. The final solution. So one of them says, اقتلوا Yusuf. Kill Yusuf. Imagine plotting to kill your own brother. You know how crazy that sounds? Killing your own blood, your own brother. But that shows you how dangerous envy is, that it blinds one to, rational thinking. You stop thinking rationally. It makes you do irrational things, crazy things. You behave with insanity. And it's an illness of your heart that the Prophet ﷺ told us that we need to be those who do everything they can to purify their hearts from these illnesses of the heart. And hasad is one of them. It kills your heart. That's why we're taught to say every single day when we recite the adhkar, and even after as-salawat, we say, we seek refuge in Allah from the evil of the envy when he envies, because it's dangerous. But then one of them, he feels compassion towards Yusuf. He said, don't kill Yusuf. He said, let's throw him into a well, the depths of the well, so that a caravan come and take him, and khalas. After that, we'll be righteous. He said, after that, we'll be righteous when he's gone. Some people, they have a goal, which is a good goal, but the way that they get there, it's evil. Right? The end goal never justifies the means if they're evil. It never justifies it. Never allows you to go, to get to that end goal any way that you wish. So now what happens? They go to their father, Yaqub alayhi salam, and Yaqub alayhi salam, he knows what his sons are like. They go to him, oh our father, مَا لَكَ لَا تَأْمَنَّا عَلَى Yusuf. He said, why do you not trust us with Yusuf? We want to go take him out tomorrow to play and so on. Something very interesting here. This ayah, the way it's recited is very interesting. There's a hukum here, called ishmam, on the word ta'manna. مَا لَكَ لَا تَأْمَنَّا عَلَى يُوسُف. The origin of the word is تَأْمَنُنَا. Two nouns. The first noun has dhamma and the second one has fatha. So when we recite it, we merge the two nouns together with ghunna, nasalization. So it becomes ta'manna, that's what you hear, but we signal with our lips the dhamma. That's the ishmam. Ta'manna. We signal with our lips the dhamma. That word ta'manna, it means مَا لَكَ لَا تَأْمَنَّا. Why do you not trust us? Ta'manna, trust us. With Yusuf. This indicates, the word of tajweed here indicates something very interesting. The Yaqub alayhi salam, his sons, they are saying one thing to him, they are portraying one thing to him, but they have other intentions. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, even the way we recite the Quran, it is showing us that there's something that's heard and something else that can be seen. Even the way we recite the Quran portrays the meaning of the Quran. That's the Quran. Nothing is random in the Quran.